Almost all orcs possess an inherent need to go fast. There is something about speed that fulfills some deep-seated desire within each greenskin. Just like the thunder of guns, the clink of tracks, or the din of battle, orcs crave speed. They like to feel the wind whipping into their faces and to hear the throaty roar of supercharged engines. It is hardly a surprise that bikes and buggies of all kinds are popular within the orc cultures. These upgun vehicles may not be as sturdy as those within the Imperium, but they are cheap, they can pack a massive amount of firepower, and most important of all, they can achieve truly suicidal speed. However, this addiction to the sensation of speed isn't only satisfied by the vehicles of the orcs. The more primitive-minded greenskins have figured out a way to indulge in high-speed charges astride specially bred squigs. From the squig hogs to the squigosauruses, these squig riders are just as fast as the exhaust-belching trucks and bikes of the standard orc tribes. Within almost every orc wog, these two factions compete in gruesome and deadly races to see which mount can get them stuck in the fastest, the living breathing monsters or the metal and oil beasts. And with that said, I want to welcome you guys back to another 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host Gersh1, and today, in honor of Orktober, we're going to be telling the tale of SpeedBoss Nargrim against the Beast Nagaboys. If you guys are new to the channel, we post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. What I'm doing for the month of October is I'm posting scary stories and orc stories or orc lore videos in honor of Orktober and Halloween. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. At the end of these videos, I will be doing a Q&A, so if you guys have any questions or any comments that you guys would like me to respond to in the next video, just comment down in the comment section below. But with all that said, let's get into the story of SpeedBoss Nargrim. SpeedBoss Nargrim gave a bellow of exhilaration as his wartrike sped towards the foe. Lasbolts flashed all around him in a storm as the Umis opened fire. Nargrim laughed wildly, even as the searing beams of light nicked his flesh and bullets ricocheted from the armor of his ride.
"They shooting at us, boss,"
yelled his driver Brogit over the roar of the trike engine, always one noticing the little details.
"Course they is, you daft git,"
Nargrim yelled in response.
"So shoot back at 'em."
"Oh yeah," replied Brogit in a tone of sudden revelation. His boomstick roared. Up ahead, an Umi was blown off his feet in a puff of blood. More shells tore into the Imperial lines as Nargrim's speed mob bore down on them. Warbikers cackled like maniacs as they fired their Daka guns, the recoil so ferocious that it drove several of them into impromptu wheelies. A couple of boom Daka snazwagons spewed heavy caliber rounds while their crew banged on the roof, urging their drivers to go faster. Nargrim then saw the gunner of a Ruckatruck squig buggy land a beautifully placed squig right through the open hatch of an Umi tank. The resulting mayhem was only matched by the carnage, as the squig buggy itself lost its front half to a sudden blast. Nargrim barked a laugh as the vehicle flipped. When would they learn not to hide squig mines under the driver's seats as a gag? Suddenly, the speed boss's attention was caught by a flash of green and leathery brown to his right. He saw Mug, Big Stompa's Beast Nagaboys come stampeding in to draw alongside his speed mob. There was Mug himself, bent low over the neck of Gobzocker, his Squigosaurus, urging the huge creature along, while behind him came trampling mobs of Squighound boys and a trio of rumbling rigs that made the ground shake. Amongst most of the galaxy's preeminent races, the sudden appearance of allies would have been a cause for celebration. Nargrim, for his part, greeted the development with an affronted shout.
"Zog off, you squig fondlers. This lot is ours."
Mug just laughed in response.
"Oh yeah? Race you oil guts. First one to the fight gets to put the boot in, if you don't break down before."
Nargrim gave fair consideration to launching something right into the smug Beast Naga's toothy face, but while that might be fun, it wouldn't answer the challenge. Like all evil sons throughout orc history, Nargrim couldn't resist a raise.
"Well,"
he roared at Brogit.
"You heard the runt, didn't you? Give it some wheel." "Giving it some wheel, boss,"
Brogit shouted back before jabbing his green thumb down onto the handlebar's booster button. Nargrim whooped and held on tight as the wartrike hurled through the hail of Imperial fire and slammed into their lines like a high-velocity warhead. Still roaring, Nargrim swung his Snagaclaw and took the bounce out of some official Umi with a black-peaked cap. Thin blood sprayed, the man's head span through the air, giving Nargrim a momentary glimpse of the wide, shocked eyes before it vanished beneath the churning wheels of his trike.
"Walk!"
bellowed Nargrim as his lads took up the cry. Bikers tore through the Imperial lines. Umi scattered or vanished under the armored tires and spiked rams. Drazmak and his Burna Boy spilled from their trucks and began spraying fire in every direction while whooping with glee. To his surprise, Nargrim saw that Mug and his beast nagas had kept pace. Gobzarger was even now wolfing down a screaming Umi. His throat was working as the Squigosaurus swallowed its prey whole. Even as he laid into the panicking, wildly shooting foe, Nargrim was conscious of the Squighog boys lobbing their rocket-propelled stickas, chain-hauling Imperial transports onto their side. A kill rig plowed through the melee, close enough that the wiring saws almost took a wheel off Nargrim's strike. The butcher boys hanging from its side shot rude gestures at him. He bellowed furiously and thumped his chest in return, then watched in appreciation as the kill rig hit an Umi tank head-on, its trample squig driving its armored head into the vehicle. Before the war machine could crash back down, the warboy atop the kill rig blasted it with a roiling green beam of energy. The Umi tank was flipped the rest of the way on top its roof. Smoke billowed, armor crumpled, something emitting a very terminal-sounding bang. Nargrim sped past, even as the beast nagas converged onto their prey with cleavers and claws held high. The Umis were breaking and running for it, their transport tanks bouncing away across the dusty ground. Nargrim's gaze found Muggs amidst the mayhem, and the two shared a look. Its meaning was clear to both of them.
Best out of 3.
Grinning like a maniac, Nargrim urged his lads to give chase, and Mugg did the same. The race was on again, and the fleeing Umis wouldn't know what hit them. And that's the lore on SpeedBoss Nargrim. That story actually comes from the new Ork Codex. And again, we're just celebrating Orktober this month, so expect more Ork videos to come. If you guys have suggestions for any specific greenskin lore you guys would like me to talk about, just comment down in the comment section below. And we're also posting scary stories. I've done one so far. It's called The Ghost on the Imperial Ship. I'll put a link up above. Check it out. But yes, this entire month we're dedicating to scary stories and Ork lore videos, so expect more in the future. Now it's time to move on to some of the questions that you guys left off in the previous 40 Facts video. This is coming from the 40 Facts and Lore on the Space Marines versus the human-controlled robots. If you guys have questions for me, just please comment down in the comment section below and we'll talk about it in the next video. But let's get into these questions. So this one comes from Alfarius. I've noticed that when it comes to Salamander's successor chapters, they only recently got some during the Ultima founding. Why didn't the Salamanders have successor chapters prior to this? 10,000 years is a long time not to have a successor, right? So the Salamanders are notorious ever since, like, even before they were reunited with Vulcan to be, what is it called? Like self-sacrificing. One of the earliest engagements for the Salamanders Legion before they got with the Primarch was during the Unification War. There was a techno-barbarian warlord who had control of a certain region of Terra. I can't remember which one it was. But the Emperor could not destroy his kingdom because he had a force field around it. There was just no way to penetrate it. So the Emperor found out that there was the Dark Age of Technology devices underneath the entire fortress that was powering this force field. So he figured, I'm going to send my legion, the Salamander's Legion, down there to destroy this power source. It's called the Tempest Galleries. So he did. So like he designed these giant drills that you could get on Forge World. They drilled down into the earth, and basically the entire legion of the Salamanders went down there, and they fought these like ancient AI robots that were protecting this power source, and they managed to destroy the force field. And the Emperor was then able to send his forces and attack this techno-barbarian kingdom, destroy it, pacify it, and then the Unification War was able to continue because of the sacrifice that the Salamander's Legion accomplished. It's probably one of my favorite stories. It's really like just badass, and I've done 2 videos on it. Check out the most recent one. It's 40 Facts and Lore on the Tempest Galleries. The most recent one is obviously like the better one. I had to redo it just because I love the story so much. But from that point forward, the Legion of the Salamanders was always low in numbers up until like even during the Horus Heresy. There was very few salamanders that were, at the disposal of Vulcan. And then the Drop Site Massacre happened. So you already have a legion that's low in numbers, and then they get betrayed by their brethren, which brings their numbers even lower. And that is why there wasn't that many successor chapters, because they never really had very many numbers to break off into anyways. They weren't like the Ultramarines or the Imperial Fists or any of the other chapters or legions. And then in the 10,000 years, that tradition of self-sacrifice continued over and over and over and over again, and they just never really like caught up. You had, I think, like 3 or 4 successor chapters, but never to the scale of the Ultramarines or the Blood Angels, just because the numbers weren't there. But yeah, cool story, and like I said, check it out. Tempest Galleries, I think it's called. Next question comes from Carrie Vaught. Could I homebrew a faction that was sent to plead for the Emperor's help after the rift with Angron that ended up on a penitent crusade? Should I use 30k or 40k rules, if I could? So whenever you're homebrewing a Space Marine chapter, it's better to use 40k rules, just because like that they give you that option in 40k, whereas in 30k you kind of have the legions and you're stuck with the legions. Successor chapters came for the 40k rule set, but having you would have to have the chapter secretly know their Primarch was Angron. They can't have him, like, you can't just say that. So it would be like the Blood Angels hiding the Red Thirst and the Black Rage. It would be like the Wolfen being hidden, like all the other chapters and successor chapters that have things hidden from the Inquisition and hidden from the Imperium and the High Lords. Your chapter would also have to hide the fact that they are, that their gene seed comes from Angron, and then if they're coming from a penitent crusade, it might be that only the chapter knows why they were on that crusade. The rest of the Imperium is just kind of like, well, we knew you were in crusade because you did something bad, but the struggle then becomes, or like the writing then becomes interesting when you try to like connect them to other factions within the Imperium. Like when they meet the Inquisition, how does the Inquisition treat them, knowing that they were on a penitent crusade and now they're back and they want to talk to the Emperor? Same thing with the Adeptus Custodes, the Imperial Guard. So almost like you have this homebrew chapter that's like a renegade chapter in a sense, where they most likely are going to find the most conflict with the Imperium, because a chapter that's on crusade shouldn't be coming back. But yeah. This next question comes from Bullet Magnet V20. What happened to Shimondes? Been waiting for more updates on that army build and lore. Don't hold out, man. LOL. Yeah, so for all those that don't know, I started a homebrew Tau army where it was Skitarii Guevesa. So it's like a Forge world adopted by the greater good, and like I was building models for them and everything. I have a playlist. I'll link that up above for you guys to check out. I got the Ethereal done. I got the Fire Warriors done. So my troops. And then I have the battle suits, and the battle suits is where I stopped because I kind of hit a creative roadblock. I didn't know how to kit bash the battle suits with Skitarii and make it look good. I asked for suggestions, but I didn't really get any like suggestions that were like, oh wow, like it looks amazing. So I put that project off to the side. I am more than likely going to work on it this month in October, but because I really want to focus on scary stories and orc lore in October, that lore won't come out till November. So expect that in November. But like I said, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, just I have a whole playlist of that homebrew Skitarii Guevesa army that I was creating, and I will go back to it, but probably in November. Next question comes from Sam Roberts. When will the next big character emerge in your opinion? Who and how is the most likely? I think the next big character for the Imperium is going to be probably like Commissar Yark. He doesn't have a new model, does he? I think he still has the old model. And the reason for that is I feel like, oh well, we know that the next codex is going to be an Imperial Codex after the Black Templars. It's going to be an Imperial Codex and then a what do you call it? And then a Xeno Codex, which is probably, I feel like it's going to be the Imperial Guard and then the Tyranids. And the Tyranids don't really have big name characters, so yeah, I think Commissar Yarick is due for an update. So I'll probably, I'm gonna guess that we're gonna get a new Commissar Yarick. I could be wrong. I'm not too sure. Next question comes from Stefan Norak. It's pronounced decimation. It means to be reduced by 1 to 10. Yeah, I don't really know how I pronounced it, or I can't remember how I pronounced it, so sorry, and thank you for the correction. Next question comes from Miguel Perez. Do the orcs believe in color transfer to Space Marines, like the Blood Angels becoming faster, Imperial Fist blowing up extra good, Hawk Lords are extremely sneaky, Ultramarines are very lucky, White Scars are extremely deadly, along with the Salamanders being orkier due to being green? No, it doesn't transfer that way, unfortunately. If anything, I feel like the color belief just makes the orcs lucky. So the WOG energy kind of influences them for whatever the orcs believe actually happens, but to them only, not to like other factions. Because like when an orc has a Shuda, when he pulls the trigger, more than likely it's supposed to blow up in his hand, but it doesn't, because the orcs like know what, and like WOG energy allows it to pull the trigger in just the right way where it doesn't blow up. Kind of the same thing with like red. It doesn't necessarily mean that the vehicle is faster, it's just that, or it would be faster, it's just that because it's red, certain things in like the actual mechanism makes it go faster. Yeah. Next question comes from J-Day. After he was introduced to his legion, was there anyone who Angron considered as a friend? I think there's a chick. It was like one of the main fleet captains of his ship. I forget what the ship was called, but I think that girl. I haven't fully read the novel, but yes, there's a chick that I think in one of the 40K videos that I just created, she's the one who shot Delvron, I think his name was, or what was his name? Delvaris? There was a world eater that got shot by an Imperial Navy captain, and I think that Imperial Navy captain was somebody that Angron trusted. So it was like a human female, like a immortal female. And then those were the questions for today, because this is going kind of long. If I didn't get to your question, just ask down in the comment section below again. If not, I'm going to be responding by just regular text. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the green skin lore videos and the scary, spooky stories that we're going to tell for this month. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Oh, if you could put my